Hello and welcome to Season 5, Episode 4 of Les Oderants. I am Dan. This week we have no Fliss, but we are joined by Ben and James. Say hello, Ben and James.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, the original trio. I think we were better with Fliss, but we'll just have to be the original trio again.
Worse.
We'll just have to be worse, yeah. It's a damning indictment of how long we've been doing this, though. I think I'm surprised, frankly, at this point, that we haven't received vast sponsorship deals or Lamborghinis and other such incentives to shill perfume. You'd have thought after whatever this is, 3-4 years of doing it, we'd be more successful than in fact we are. Hey-ho.
Yeah, but we've got that kind of creeping success that might be a little foreshadowing of what we're talking about later.
Creepy.
We were started off kind of like, there was a big fanfare, and then everyone went, "Oh, actually, all right," and then.
Shit.
And then we started to grow more of a cult, more of a cultured following of real enthusiasts. So they're the people that we really care about anyway. So, all those fickle people who started out and then binned it off after a few episodes, fuck you, basically, because you missed all the pay dirt. You missed all the fucking pay dirt at the end.
No. Absolutely. So I actually just wanted to say, because a few people got in touch after the last episode where I mentioned at the beginning of the episode some bullshit that had happened, and a few people got in touch, and some people got in touch to say nice things and some people got in touch to say nasty things, and I would just simply say this, right, to anyone out there, I actually don't care about your opinion. Okay, if you would like to say something nice, feel free to say something nice. If you want to say something unpleasant, fucking save it. I don't want to hear it. That's all. You don't have to say unpleasant shit to people. You can just agree to have a different worldview, and that's that. So that's where we are. People who want to get in touch and say unpleasant shit, please don't. However, should we talk about perfume? James, have you prepared a full 14 this week? Or because I know we're recording, it's a bit weird. We're recording on a Tuesday, so it's all out of fucking sync, isn't it?
I mean, I feel a bit weird saying this as she's not here, but Fliss kind of sort of her what would you call it? Mirth? Is that a word? She kind of
hang on, Fliss.
She kind of
she pissed on your chips?
A little bit. She sort of sighed and was, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" When I even just announced,
she really did as well.
Just announced that there would be like a full 21 or whatever it was. She was like, "Oh, fuck!" Like that into a microphone.
That was brutal.
And a little fucking little child.
Did you know you did that, Fliss?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just went, oh, I was like, really? No, I'm only kidding. I'm fucking winding around. It's a combination of that and I couldn't be arsed. Actually recording what
yes.
So I wanted to make her feel bad about it, and
the
hopefully she'll be listening and we'll feel bad about it. No, but a little bit of that, because I was like, look, do I really? I also kind of I do like structure and format and things like that, but hey, sometimes don't do a full 14. Don't worry about it. Like, maybe it'll come back next week. Do you know what I mean? So we're just kind of
you are your own man,
and I probably have some perfumes maybe to just talk about, and it won't go all self-indulgent and here's exactly all the 14 things that I wore, because like I say, it even gets on my tits, so I'm not surprised it gets on other people's. So I haven't got a full 14. No.
Okay. Well, I mean, not to give you sort of homework, but can you sort of set that big brain thinking about what you might have worn over the last couple of weeks, just so we have something to talk about on this podcast?
I will try that.
Yes.
Can I?
I want to talk about one perfume, by the way. Can I just jump in with this one? Because I got it this week and I've already worn it for like 3 days this week, which is ridiculous. Which is the Guerlain Neroli Plain Soude. And I absolutely fucking adore this perfume. It is a so it's got a weird what's even the note? That yellow root thing, turmeric. It's got a turmeric-y sort of note.
It looks the actual liquid looks very dark for a neroli perfume. Yeah.
Too dark to be a neroli fragrance, right? Yeah. That's exactly
it's very orangey. Yeah, so it's got a turmeric, which I expect turmeric does colour it significantly. I mean, because turmeric is like really bright yellow sort of root, isn't it? But it has this sort of slightly flat, like aromatic sort of vibe, almost like powdery. You know when like people talk about flat light, when like it's all grey and uniform,
like diffuse
and stuff.
Kind of light.
It's like that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but just very, very. It's the same everywhere, kind of thing, and it gives it that sort of feeling. It's got like a flat, powdery sort of sheen over the neroli, with just some spice. I don't know what it is about this perfume, but I'm fucking loving it. Honestly, for me to wear the same perfume 3 days in a row is broadly unheard of. I mean, in part, it was because like I was like, oh, look, yeah, that T-shirt smells of it. I think I'll put that on again. Not that I wear the same T-shirts like multiple days in a row. I feel like I should explain that now. That sometimes if I have a shower in... Yeah, well, no, sometimes if I have a shower in the evening, I'll put on a T-shirt for like an hour before I go to bed.
Yourself. I mean, you wear the same undercrackers for a week at a time. I have to. And, you know, they fucking...
Yeah, well, I mean, underpants, obviously. I mean, that goes without saying. Fucking hell. What do you think what do you think I am? Made of money? I ain't washing my fucking grumps every day.
Yeah, I'm out in there like a fucking flag on the moon or something. Like stiff as a board.
Just yeah, excellent. So anyway, I've been wearing that Guerlain, which is absolutely super duper sensational, and I can't recommend it highly enough. I will, when I'm back from my holidays, I will definitely send some samples.
Sounds interesting. Turmeric.
If you don't like that,
turmeric and white florals.
Yeah. Exactly. You'd think that's not going to work, and yet somehow it does. And then there's another one which I got from a brand called Ojar, called Everlit, which is it's a new extrait to parfum, but it's just another sort of beachy thing. And I am wondering whether I am not just a little bit fucking tired of fucking Akigala wood now. It's just like, I think Akigala wood had its fucking day in the sun. Could we move on from that now? It's just so brutal and tenacious, and it just makes everything smell broadly like Ganymede, which is not my favourite, if I'm honest. You're nodding, James. That's not a particularly good.
I've said this before. I've never smelled Akigala wood in isolation. I don't really see some of the similarities that people say between certain perfumes that like, oh, it's that fucking Akigala wood again. I'm like, really? This is a totally different perfume to this other perfume that you don't like either. Not saying you particularly, but it's like whenever it gets mentioned on Fragrantica, people like seem to have this real downer on it where I kind of think it's a pretty, if what I'm smelling in the perfume is what I think it is, it's a pretty harmless kind of patchouli type, like clean patchouli type aroma chemical, which is, I think, what's offending people is other things in the perfume. I've said this before, and I don't think it's a standalone. I don't think it has enough. I don't know because I haven't had access to the material to smell it to know. I think, do I know somebody who's got some? I think I might do, and I will be asking them to provide it to me because I would like to try it in isolation, maybe try it in a perfume
definitely.
and see how it works with other materials. I don't know.
I think that is a good and sensible thing to do. However, Occam's razor, my guess is the thing that is listed that unites all of these fucking Vichy perfumes is the Akigala wood, and they all smell broadly the same to me. And so that's my guess. Fire. I may be wrong, but
okay, I'm not taking the piss. But that's true. If you do see those, and but again, it could be a causation correlation thing as well, perhaps.
It may be correlation, not causation. You are quite right, and I am prepared to be wrong about that. But my instinct says it's fucking Akigala wood. That's the thing, and frankly, whatever the thing is, it's pissing me off. It's fucking ubiquitous. It's everywhere, and it's it seems no matter how delicately it's used, it just dominates every composition and fucking turns it into something with like a radioactive half-life of about 16 years. It's insanity. Do you know? I'm just kind of putting this out there publicly, but you're quite good mates with Salmon, aren't you? He probably has access to that. Me and Ren,
a little bit of Akigala wood because we're interested. We want to talk about it on the podcast. We realised that you could even frame it with Amouage haven't been kind of tarred with the Akigala wood brush, but you do have Bish, who's a perfumer who clearly uses it a lot. Can we get some, please? Because it's a captive, you can't get access to it. Some people can. I mean, some people have it or have similar things or something. I don't really know because I'm not fully entrenched in that world. But I'm very curious to get my hands on it and see what it's all about.
No, that's absolutely. I definitely want to know. So anyway, I mean that ever lit Ojar perfume is perfectly nice, but it definitely has that same Bish thing, which is like being sort of battered around the conch with some sort of metallic object. There you go. Ben, have you been wearing perfumes this week, or have you just been fucking spending all day every day snoozing?
A bit of both. I mean, you can do both quite comfortably, I think. So snoozing a lot and wearing perfume a lot. But we need to talk about perfume because after you talk about those captives not being available to everyone and stuff, I've sort of got this I've just had a nap basically, and I think my mind's still a little bit dream world because I started getting visions of these crazy perfumers like Bish in a corner with his secret sauce, a bit like Soylent Green or something, no one talks about his secret ingredients, but I
don't think it's dead people
trying to coax some sort of
it might be.
Actually, James, I mean, look, if you can say with some confidence that it's not Akigala wood, I'm not sure you can say with the same level of confidence that it's not dead people.
Maybe.
So he may well just be using Soylent Green for fucking perfuming purposes. So
it would be some trick. But
so now you're awake.
Lots of perfume. Yes. Well, I've got the first perfume I guess to talk about. James will be able to chip in on anyway. Was that Shadid?
We're talking about that, are we? Okay, cool.
Are we? I haven't tried this yet, which I'm pretty pleased about.
It was the newest release from Tower. I think it came out last week, right? And it was a limited edition because the materials that he used apparently he only got it in a small batch, so he decided to make this small batch run of perfume, called it Shadid. So what did you think of it, James? Basically, it's supposedly the way he talks about it was a sandalwood and ambergris fragrance, right?
That sounds quite pleasant.
Yeah, that's the way he described it. It ain't that. Unfortunately, I still owe Rich Mitch for it. And I almost feel
it ain't cheap either.
No, it ain't. It fucking ain't. And I almost feel like aggrieved to the point where I'm like, do I have to really pay you for that? Like, you talked me into it. You talked me into it, you cunt. And
he wasn't talking me into that, by the way. I recall saying that I don't believe he's made a decent perfume since fucking Ochre.
Well, while I thought that was slightly unfair at the time, I actually think back on it myself about my own experience with Tower and the perfumes that I own of Towers, which are one, and that is Les de Desert Moroccan, which, to be honest, is like the absolute like opus of his entire career that he did in fucking 1996 or whatever the fuck it was now. It's like 2000 and something, wasn't it? And to be honest, yeah, I mean, as amazing as that was as an accord, as like, because the thing is about it, right? And again, I know we're talking about this Shadid perfume, but I feel as though we need to touch on that because that is his, most well-known and actually best perfume that he's ever done. Because I think as an indie perfumer, he really did something there, which like other, like, I believe in the industry, trained perfumers and people went, fucking hell, look at that this guy's done. Do you know what I mean? Like, I genuinely think they marveled at it as being like a brilliant, like, innovation, in just a creative idea, because it's quite a linear perfume, isn't it? You spray it on. Yes, it has top notes and middle notes and base notes and stuff, but they all just hit you at once and they continue to hit you for like the next 10 hours or something. And it doesn't really do a lot, but there's so much in it. There's so much like richness and like things to get from it that it really doesn't matter. And it doesn't need to be like layered or to unfurl or whatever. It just does its thing relentlessly and it's brilliant. And I actually wore that probably in this last 2 weeks since we thinking it, just to get a bit of a taste of what Tower was about, because this new one, frankly, is not my cup of tea at all. I want Ben to describe it first because I'm interested in what Ben thinks about it.
Yeah, so I wasn't as down on it as I think you guys. I
haven't tried it.
So it opens up like this kind of like quite strong woody, almost like, when you get those like dark wood perfumes that smell almost like dark wood lacquer kind of thing. I'm not sure what it is, but that sort of lacquered note of lacquered wood or treated hardwood, and it's quite brutal. It's a bit stinky, and then it just sort of gradually fades away into this strong woody vanilla sort of mush. I felt it. My biggest criticism for it, because I actually don't mind it as a smell. I think it's fine, but I think my biggest criticism is that it feels like it's just this big smush, and there's like not really any sort of definition anywhere. It's just a big blur, like mess of blur, and that is basically just okay. So because sometimes you get perfumes like that, right, where there isn't a lot of definition, or it does feel like it's just a big amorphous blob, but that amorphous blob, it smells nice, so that's okay or whatever. But this just sort of feels a bit meh the whole time. But I didn't hate it. It's basically a fairly, after the first like 10 minutes where it does smell it is a bit stanky. After those first 10 minutes, it basically just turns into a fairly unimposing woody vanilla, and that's about it. That's my thoughts on it anyway, James.
Okay. So what's interesting about it is that I actually don't think it's like a smush. I think it has like distinct layers to it, right? And basically two halves, if you like. So when I got the vial in the post, which is here, I could smell the outside of it, and I was like, it smells like a fruity vanilla, right? I was like, it smells like fruity vanilla. You can't really get that skanky sort of leathery kind of woody accord that Ben described as lacquer, which I think is very astute, because it does have that like astringency and sort of like harshness. But I have that as a kind of saffrony leather sort of ish kind of thing. However, it doesn't smell dissimilar to those kind of very heavy over the top oud, but kind of synthetic ouds. Like it's quite similar to what's it called? Joro. I think it's called Joro by Nasamato. Yeah,
Nasamato?
Which is a kind of very stinky, leathery wood thing, which is supposed to smell like wiping your finger on the inside of your bollocks, basically. The crotch, kind of inside of the leg, like bollock crotch. Apparently, according to the guy.
Well, that's what it's meant to smell like.
Hard, as in like hard, like a cock.
What? Hang on. What? The Nasamato perfume?
In Italian means hard.
Are you talking about the Nasamato? Yeah. Means hard, and it's meant to smell like a sweaty bollock.
It's not dissimilar to this, but I like that for some bizarre reason, and I don't really like this, only because it then kind of goes to so there's nothing wrong with the leathery accord and whatever this oud or whatever the fuck he's put in it, that will satisfy certain people. But then there's an undertone of this vanillic, slightly fruity vanillic thing, which is so faint and kind of in the background, but then starts to get a little bit more prominent. It feels disjointed. It feels wrong. The two bits, it's like when you, I don't know, bring two things together, they've got to interact with each other in order for them to be one cohesive thing. And I don't feel that this perfume does that. So there's nothing wrong really with either of them. I wouldn't really like it if it was just the fruity vanilla, to be honest. I'd be like, what the fuck is Tower doing? But if it was all just the leather thing as well, I'd probably think it was boring. So what he's done is tried to kind of unite these things to be like, look, this has got loads of depth and things, but it doesn't work for me. It doesn't hang together. I might be wrong. Some people might smell this and go, oh, that's great. Look at the way he's done this, and how they both kind of exist on these sort of different like levels. Because once you spray it, you go, where is the vanilla? Oh yeah, the vanilla sort of comes slightly like afterwards and stuff. The fact that I've got so much to say about it, you go, oh, well, that's quite interesting. And maybe it is to other people. But I just felt for me, I'm not that interested or excited by it.
I'll be honest. Based on both of your descriptions, it sounds a bit shit. And I know that's a highly involved review, but I assume it doesn't smell like any other tower then, because most of the towers to me have that Towerade, Towerade, whatever you call it, that sort of fizzy, I don't even know what it is, olibanum or something that he uses. None of that?
I didn't really feel like it. It felt quite like, it also felt a bit nondescript to me. Like it was that opening sort of like 10 minutes was quite exciting as well, which didn't help because then it kind of went downhill from there. When I first smelt the stanky bit, I was like, ooh, sort of like prick my ears a little bit, like this could be interesting, and it just didn't really get any more interesting. It was all a downhill struggle basically.
It's quite an ugly accord, right? So that there's something like say about that Nasamato which just makes it like when I wear it, I'm like, there's something about this. It is not particularly pleasant, but there's just something likable about it. This just doesn't have that, and it doesn't make me want to wear it. I've worn it on my skin, as in I've sprayed it on my arms and stuff, but I'm kind of reluctant to wear it for a proper day. But you never know, things might completely change. So here's something. So I was very complimentary about imagination. Because I first sprayed it when we were sat here doing the podcast the other week, and I went, "Oh,
live demo!
Yeah, this is like a kind of neo, new style eau de cologne, and it's got a little T note in it, and like I really like it, and I thought, oh, this is great. To the point where I was like, I might end up like maybe even buying this, and then I actually wore it on my skin, and I was like, that's pretty fucking disappointing, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I still like the smell of it, and I still like the fact that I could smell those like notes in it and stuff. I was like, oh, that's great. But when I actually wore it, it didn't like captivate me all day or anything. I could smell mainly that kind of like attention grabbing top thing. Didn't really get much of the like white florally kind of depth to it or anything. I was like, there's plenty of eau de colognes that I actually probably prefer to this, which is a shame, because I wanted that like new like that neon thing that we were talking about, but in an eau de cologne. I'd be like amazed by that, and you do get that from smelling it on the strip and being like, oh yeah, but just didn't translate to the wear for me.
Yeah, okay, that's well, I mean, I'm not going to say it's terribly surprising, because I think, you were doing a sort of a live first impressions kind of thing, and I can see certainly how the first time you smell that, it's super interesting and fun and all those things. I have worn it on occasion and found it a little bit grating after a while, actually, but I really like it as on the whole. I think it's very solid. I want to just go back to Duro, only because I'm increasingly bothered about this concept of what some people are calling ultra niche, which I don't know, if there was ever a label that was guaranteed to fucking wind me up, it was calling something ultra niche, as though it's somehow, no, you wouldn't get it. It's definitely more niche than you are. It's ultra niche. It just sounds like the sort of like self-indulgent, pompous kind of ramblings of twats, really. But
I'm so glad I don't exist in these same circles as you. It's great because you hear these words and terms, and on Facebook groups and stuff, and I'm like,
you've never come across it. You've never come across ultra niche.
I saw, I think you maybe said it on your stories possibly, or somebody, only in the past like month have I heard that term, really. It doesn't surprise me. It's like one of those things that you hear and you go, oh yeah, I've heard that for ages before, because it's the kind of thing. But if that's a new thing, it's because people have worn out niche, you know what I mean? Or the definition of it has become so fucking fractured into like, what does it even mean anymore, that people go, oh, we have to have our own little club to say that things are even more exclusive and whatever.
Well, I can't say I'm like shocked by it though, because you think about it, niche, like you say, has become such a broad thing now, where lightly niche these days basically means north of 200 quid.
I don't think you're wrong, actually. I think niche is just, hey, this is expensive.
If you go back to the original days where it was like Serge Luton and stuff like that, it wasn't about the price, it was about how that's not a mainstream smell.
Well,
and so I can kind of see why this ultra niche idea might crop up.
Yeah, well, I think it's an extension of that. It's kind of, this is so not mainstream. Fuck the mainstream. Mainstream is for cunts. We're ultra niche. You're cunts. That kind of thing. And all their perfumes are called things like Dick Salad or Duro. The whole thing sort of like, I don't really understand it. It's there's a sort of perfume making virtuosity, if you like, showing off what you can do to sort of bring about a concept, and here's my concept of, the smell of a bollock trapped against a leg. Great. I mean, that's fascinating.
It's like free jazz.
Yeah, except free jazz can be entertaining. The smell of a bollock, I think, is probably never entertaining.
I've just had a mind-blowing fucking idea. We were talking about the Soylent Green thing before and Akajala wood.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a I don't know how to phrase this.
Just phrase it.
Okay, let's try it.
Just blurt
let's try
it
and
out.
see if we need to cut it out. So maybe there's like a tribe or something called like the Akajala tribe, and they cut their bonus off and they make Akajala wood from it. I don't know.
What the fuck?
I know. It's fine. Moving on. Come on, let's move on.
Oh Christ, you've made me lose my train of thought.
Sorry.
Right. So my point was, there is a I can understand a certain artistic virtuosity in being able to compose the smell of a bollock, right? But who in their right fucking mind would want to wear that perfume, right? Why would anyone buy it? And the answer, I think, is so that they can appear to be, well, they're perverts, yeah, or really into bollocks, but but the answer is that they are so sort of enthralled to the idea of being different to everyone else that they just have to have it in order to be different. And I sort of, I don't know. The whole thing just sort of makes me roll my eyes.
Well, I don't.
It's always been around, though, isn't it? That. And Vivienne Westwood, was it Boudoir? Vivienne Westwood, her description to the perfumer was, I want it to smell like vaginas. So, that's that sort of thing. But
it doesn't smell like vaginas.
But it doesn't. It's flowers. Yeah.
If it actually smelled like vaginas,
have you smelled the actual vagina perfume, the vulva perfume?
No,
neither have I. But like, we should get it. Like, maybe do.
We should definitely get it.
We should do a split.
Yeah.
It definitely be better.
Get Rich Mitch involved.
I'll tell you.
Oh man, that's so brutal. I hope Andy's not listening.
I doubt he will be.
I can guarantee.
No, I guarantee he's not. I don't think anyone's listening, actually, so I wouldn't worry.
Good. I'm glad. So, what was I saying? Ultra niche. Load of bollocks in it, really.
Well, quite literally, it's a load of bollocks. Yeah, this smells like a bollocks.
Yeah.
A bollocks. Okay. Well, look, let's go back to what people have been wearing. We dealt with the tower, and Ben, do you have anything else on your list?
Yeah, kind of. I think it's interesting, but no one's going to think it's interesting. It's so predictable. I hate.
Are you going to say Penhaligons?
I am.
You fucking. I reckon you're getting paid by them. You're like just on the sly.
Right? I should be. So I went to my sister. It was my sister's birthday today, and I went and met her for lunch. And when I got there, she was like, "Oh, I want to buy this perfume. I keep smelling it every time I walk past the Penhaligon shop." And I was like, "Don't do that. That's what they want you to do. They pump it out. It's how fetty, and they've done it for years." And then she was like, "Do they really?" And I was like, "Yeah, let's go and I'll show you." And she was like, "Okay." And so I took her to the Penhaligon shop after we had like brunch or whatever, and she sniffed how fetty and was like, "That's the one I want. Yeah, blah blah blah." And then the lady was talking to us, and you know how they are in there. They're very polite because it's an expensive shop, and so they have to be polite to everyone, right? And actually, quite good. They got these like little Penhaligons hankies, and they sprayed some Halfetti on it and gave it to my sister, even though because she said, "I'm not going to buy it." And we were like, "Oh well, I'll give you a hanky and you can keep it, and then basically maybe you'll come back." But it was quite nice. But anyway. When I was there, I said, "Have you got the new one, The Cut? I don't know when it's out because they got this one coming out soon called The Cut." And she was like, "No, it's coming out next month, but I'll give you a little cheeky spray." And I was like, "Can you?" She was like, "Yeah." So she went out back and she sprayed a thing for me and gave it to me. And so I got to smell the new Penhaligons. yeah, and all that. It's all right. It smells like a woody thing. But what I thought was interesting about it was that it's called The Cut, and you would think, therefore, barbershop, right? Penhaligon's called The Cut. It's going to be barbershop. But it wasn't. It was like this woody, like when she first sprayed it, it was very dry woods. And then sort of as time went by, a little bit of lavender came out, a little bit of sage, like clary sage came out, smelt a little bit sweeter. Smelled like a Penhaligon's, but it did smell quite nice. But it did smell like a Penhaligon's.
Okay. Dan's not interested. Do you own many Penhaligon's, Dan?
So,
I don't think you do you?
I do. I've got 2 Penhaligon's.
That's fuck all for you. That's basically like dissing Penhaligon's right there.
That's like not having any. I've got one called Lothair, which is a very sort of breezy, citrusy.
I know it. Yeah.
What is it? Maybe yuzu or something like that. It's really nice, very nice.
Isn't it supposed to be one of their oldest perfumes, like 19th century vibes? That one.
Possibly.
That definitely works for them.
Sure.
Look at it. It'll be sneaking bits into fucking dark history soon. Oh, he smelled so.
As he walked past Bermondsey to murder someone, he popped into the Penhaligon shop and bought some.
And the way, even when you were saying you were trying to stop your sister going, that's how they get you when they pump it out. But you then took her there to stop her going there. Like, what was all that about?
so the other one I
can guide you, but don't go by yourself.
This is doing is convincing me that Ben is now being paid by Penhaligon.
Oh, don't start that, because we'll be getting fucking abusive shit from people going, Ben's a shill for Penhaligon.
Fucking shill. How many Penhaligon's bottles do you actually have, Ben? Ish. You don't need to count them all.
About 15.
Bloody hell. Wow. You really are a fan. So the other one I've got is Legacy of Petra.
I love that. Yeah. I think that's great.
Which I wasn't bowled over by when I first tried it. But actually, it's really grown on me. Really, I don't even know what it is, sort of ambery, licoricey type thing. Yeah.
See, a lot of my Penhaligons I fully admit to getting because they were cheap or whatever, and I like them because they fill a certain role, right? But I wouldn't be bowled over by them as perfumes. But that Legacy of Petra, I actually think is a really good perfume. It's really interesting, and it's very good. Dark as well. I do like a clear bottle with a dark sort of perfume in it. It's always reassuring.
Did I talk about another tower which I tried, which Rich Mitch sent me? Did I talk about it last week?
I don't know.
I possibly did.
I don't think so.
I possibly did.
Look, if we can't remember, the listeners can't remember. No. It doesn't matter. Talk about it. Let's go.
I can't even remember what it's called. It was in a white bottle, and again, it was another one of those like limited edition. Oh, he's only going to make 1,000. Well, they can fucking chuck them all in the sea for all I care. It was absolute. I mean, to be honest, I as soon as like Rich Mitch sent it me, and sent me a sample, and I was like, I hate it. I said, I fucking hate it. And then I actually wore it. And again, the reverse of imagination. It wasn't as bad as what I'd originally thought, but it's still bad. I mean, it's an orange.
I like the fact, though, that you hated something initially, but decided, presumably in the name of, artistic or scientific research, to wear it anyway.
Yeah,
I think
it's like gonzo fucking journalism or something. Do you know what I mean? I have to be true to myself, even if I look stupid by going, oh, it was crap the first time. Most of the time, that doesn't happen, right? That's quite rare for it to happen a couple of times as well. Usually, I have a pretty fully formed idea, and I can smell something on strip and then wear it and go, yeah, that was what I expected, and that happens a lot of the time. But then just sometimes, and that's what I've said amazes me about perfume, that it can the way that it sort of like translates or works at certain, yes, there's all the other factors, shall we say, about your mood and where you are and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that does affect it, but I like to think that I've got there's an objective truth as well, that's nothing to do with skin chemistry or fucking any of this shit. It's basically this is my kind of thing, and I think most people will be smelling the same thing as me, as much as we can know what each other smells things, because we do all smell things differently as well. But I try to be as true to that as possible. And if that means wearing something that I said is fucking awful and then going, oh, actually, I'm going to backtrack on that a little bit, it was okay, it wasn't as awful as I thought, or vice versa, that's what I'm going to do. And anyway, so this is a kind of orange blossom, but it's got like a slightly minty thing to it. And again, I actually thought,
is it Nexin?
Yeah, that's it.
James?
Sorry, Nexin. Yeah.
Nexin?
Have you smelled that?
Yeah. No, I've not. But it's a limited edition, though, isn't it?
It's pretty terrible. It's pretty terrible at first when you smell it and you go, and then when I wore it, I was like, okay, it's not as bad, but it's not doing anything for me, really. And I really wanted to be excited about mint and orange blossom. It sounds like a romantic North African kind of, refreshing drink or something. Do you know what I mean? It's like that. They have that stuff, don't they, where it's like, it is orange blossom with mint in it. It's like an orange blossom flavored drink. It's fucking delicious. I can't remember what it's called. Have you ever been in, I'm not going for like super authentic here, this is like a chain restaurant, but have you ever been in Comptoir Libanaise? One of those?
No.
Well, there's a restaurant chain.
No,
again, we're not sponsored by them. Fuck off anybody who's saying we're shilling for them. They're like it's all like meze, like North African-y type food. It's all like platters of little bits of things, like kind of like tapas, but like North African. They have one at Cheshire Oaks. I know because Jenny opened it and started it off and stuff, because I think they're part of like the same group as like Leon and those kind of like fast food, but it's kind of slightly healthy and whatever. Anyway,
sort of like Wagamama, but for
exactly. And it's actually really it's pretty nice like restaurant stuff. Anyway, they have this drink. Maybe you could Google it and save my fucking time, but I believe it's it's a North African drink that's very popular, that's flavored with orange blossom and has like sprigs of mint in it. It's lovely. So I pictured that, and I did not get that. I got a kind of fucking Timu version of that.
So I had all these great expectations, and they were
made by Andy Tower. Sorry, Andy, but you did do one amazing fucking piece of work, which is seminal. And if that's all you can do, if that's all you ever do in perfumery, you've done more than fucking most people. So good for you. But everything else is shite.
Quite.
So
thank you.
I like Rose Queer. Is it Rose Queer?
He has got some of the good ones. I'm just being fucking facetious, but there are a few other ones.
I tried. Is there Rose Kandahar? Is that one? I think
that is one.
I think I tried that one. Au Cœur du Desert, which is basically a flanker to L'air du Desert. I mean, I think it's more or less the same perfume, but potentially just like some of the levels tinkered with or whatever. But that was obviously very nice. But all of those, what did they? What was that sort of sub range he did?
Flash,
Rose
Flash, Patchouli.
That's
Flash.
it. Yeah, they all smelt the same to me. They smelt like he'd just gone, right, here's my Flash base, which is surprisingly enough a little bit like L'air du Desert, and I'm just going to whack various different toppings on it.
Rose Flash is like this boozy, heavy rose that like is migraine inducing. I quite like it, but it is
love a migraine.
Heavy.
I'm a big fan of migraines. Right, okay. So we're back on trashing Tower. Ben, did you have anything else in your want to comment on list?
We can probably move on.
Okay. Yeah. James, other than the other Tower, what you smelt and have got a precious little good to say about, was there anything else that stood out from your week?
There were a few things, but I'm very absent-minded, so I just need to have a little look.
If you didn't write them down, you're a bit fucked.
It didn't really happen if I didn't write them down. But just talk amongst yourselves, and I'll
So this is the reality of the full 14, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not like, it's a necessity rather than a feature.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That is true. Yes.
Yeah. So, I tried the new Roger Isola Verde. I don't know how interested people will be in it. You know what? I wasn't that interested. I love a lot of Roger perfumes. This one was not my favourite, if I'm honest. It was...
It sounds bright and green.
Bright and green, yeah. Isola, so sunny green, yeah. And sunny green or soylent green would have been a good name for it. I mean, it's...
If anyone's using soylent green, it's Roger.
Yeah, definitely. I saw a picture of him posing weirdly in front of a Rolls Royce on Instagram. Like, what the fuck, dude?
I mean, you say weirdly, but that's pretty on brand.
Yeah, I suppose it probably is.
It's probably nipping down Sainsbury's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Just nipping down Sainsbury's.
Just nipping down Sainos in Roller. Well, there's no reason I should have shared this story with anyone, but I'll share it anyway because it was a very strange experience. So, my kids have friends from a very diverse sort of socio-economic background, as you'd expect, living in kind of downtown Manchester. They've got friends who've got nothing, and they've got friends who come from fabulous wealth, and they all get along. It's all good. One of the fabulously wealthy girls was here the other night, and her dad collected her. He came in. I know him. He's all right. He's a very decent guy. But we were talking about cars, and he was like, I've got a new car." I said, "You always got a new car, you cunt." So he goes, "No, come have a look." So we go outside, and he's got this fucking Rolls Royce parked outside my house, and so he goes, "Do you want to go for a drive?" So yeah, fuck it, why not? So we go for a drive in this. It's like just a giant settee on wheels.
Is it the SUV?
Do you want to drive it? I was like, No. So it's like the car, the saloon jobby, Phantom, silver Phantom. I don't know what they call it, but he's like, do you want to drive it? I was like,
all the
potholes. Yeah, exactly. No, I was like, well, no, I'm pissed, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning, and just this is a really bad idea. I'm not even insured on it. So no, it'll be fine. So I managed to avoid that, but then it started raining, and he put on the windscreen wipers, obviously, and I just had this fucking beautiful moment where I realised that even on a Rolls Royce, the windscreen wipers still just make that noise if they've got any dirt trapped against them. So you can have the poshest fucking car in the world, and it still just goes in the rain. Bad, so yeah. It made me feel a lot better about not having a Rolls Royce. So yeah, there's my Rolls Royce story, which has taken.
He's probably going home to his trophy wife with fucking fake tits and all that kind of shit. Like, you got window wipers squeak, and he's like, "Yeah, fuck off, mate. I'm going back to my mansion to fucking pound like my fucking 22-year-old chick." Anyway,
you have no idea how accurate that is.
With his fucking big turkey teeth, and yeah, I can imagine the cunt.
No, he's a good egg, in fairness.
Before we move on, inappropriate cars, I've got a story that's similar, right? But I think sort of the shit version, right? To the Temu version of that, right? A friend of mine, years back, showed up on my driveway at my parents' house one night, because I was staying over there. He was like, "I come pick you up in my new car." Rolled up in like a 1970-something Cadillac Eldorado.
Nice.
The fucking thing is like 3 meters, 4 meters.
They're enormous.
Like the length of a bus, about as wide as a bus. And then we got in that, and it just when you're saying like a couch on wheels, it was exactly like that. Yeah. Like you got in it, and it was just like sitting in this big fluffy couch, and it was like a boat. The way it rocked around when you turned the corners, and when it accelerated, the whole thing just went like, because it's fuck off V12 thing in it. But yeah, ridiculous cars, so inappropriate for like English roads.
Well, most American cars were never originally designed to sort of handle corners particularly well, because the vast majority of driving is in straight lines there. It's
even their racing is like
around town in England, it's a nightmare.
So, you know, they don't even need to corner in that. Here's my driving anecdote. I've got one.
Sorry.
I've got one.
Hang on. Before we do your driving anecdote, I just want to say that we had someone get in touch, an American get in touch on the issue of pronunciation last week. And pipette is apparently a universally accepted pronunciation of the word pipette in America.
Guys, I said this to you and you were all like, no chance.
If you just want to set James off.
Like I work in the scientific field, I use fucking pipettes every day, right? I say pipette, right? Well,
Pipettes.
Well, exactly. Some people say pipette and I'm like, I don't like that, but like I kind of accept because so many people have said it to me that I'm like, okay. It's like, there's a lot of people in Chester, right? I don't consider myself to have a Chester accent, but I probably do. It's not quite flat anyway. We're not really like, you know, but the proper like Chester people, there's a pub down in the, like, where all the students live. There's a road called Chichester Street, which you would call Chichester Street, wouldn't you? Right? Would you? I don't know. But the pub is called the Chai, right? People just call it the Chai, right? Because it's like short for Chichester Street, because it's called the Chichester, the pub. But then people from Chester call it Chichester Street, right? And I'm like, it's not fucking Chichester Street, is it? It's Chichester, like the place. Well, the place fucking down south or wherever it is.
People from yeah, it's near Brighton. People from Chichester do call it Chai, though, don't they?
People around here call it Chich.
Chich. Cool. Yeah. Well, there you go. Anyway, but people calling it the fucking Chai is like, when they're going Chai. I live on Chichester Street, and it's like, it's fucking not. Anyway, so there's just grinds my gears a little bit. But anyway, here's my fucking driving anecdote. I may have told this before, I don't know, but when I was learning to drive, so I kind of binned off learning to drive because I fucking failed my test a couple of times when I was like 17. I was like, fuck this shit, I don't need to drive. And then a few years later I was like, actually I do need to drive. So I was getting like driving lessons, and then my Irish friend, who was like probably 10 years older than me, right, was suddenly like, oh, I've got a car. I've just got this car. It's Mazda MX-5 and all this. And I was like, oh, nice. It's like
Indian, was he?
Fuck off. And then he goes, so he basically goes, oh, and now I was going to do a fucking Indian voice. And we'll get a lot of fucking letters. Right, okay. So, he basically said, oh yeah, I won't do his fucking voice now because you've made me feel like I can't do accents, right? So he basically said, right, you like come out in my car and you can have a go in my new Mazda. So I was like, all right, cool. And we went for a drive, and we were driving around all these like to back lanes and stuff, and he was giving me advice about driving. And I said, oh, how's this work with all your like insurance and stuff? And he, oh, I've no insurance. I was like, what? I was like, well, when did you get your license then? Do you know what I mean? How long have you been? Oh, I've no license. And I was like, you no fucking license? What do you mean? So I've been driving around in your car all day. Oh, no, we don't bother with such things in Ireland, he said. And I was like, what? He was from like Mayo, like the fucking, and he just said, oh, no, we don't bother with licenses. We don't bother with licenses. And I've said that to loads of my Irish friends, and like, yeah, that was like, that. Hopefully they don't, like, it's not like that anymore. But it used to be quite like rife, like a lot of people drive around. They don't have fucking licenses. So I was like, I think you better drive. So I just got out and fucking got him in the seat. I was like, fucking hell. So I went for a driving lesson with somebody who just didn't have a fucking license or insurance. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Well, I think we can make a strong case that we should rebrand this podcast Top Gear or something. But just to wrap us up on part one and back on track. Yeah. Do you actually have any perfume related nonsense, James? Because you sort of buggered. The reason we were talking cars, by the way, was because I had to fill with a Rolls-Royce anecdote whilst you fucked off to look for perfumes you'd be thinking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Exactly.
Egoist Cologne.
Cologne Concentré. Oh, mate. It's
Concentrate. Yeah, sorry. I have that exact one.
Man, it's really good. I'm one of these people who's like, oh, I've got a kind of reasonably modern bottle from, I don't know, 2000 and something, which I think is very good because it's still got intact top notes and it smells, but the base of these old vintage Egoist cologne concentrates and stuff is just so fucking creamy, and just I had an absolute ball of a day. It's kind of a muggy hot day, it just made it even better. Chanel Egoist cologne concentrate. And then I've got a material here, which I may have spoke about last week, but it's one of the Grand Crus. Oh, by the way, Rich Mitch sent me something. It was Les Indemodables put up a thing saying, I don't know whether they're going to make these available, but do you remember when they did that kit of all the materials that they've used, and they were all like color coded and shit? Fuck me. Like, they've done an even bigger one now. I don't know if it's going to be available. I don't know if they were just saying, hey, look, here's all our suppliers and all the different materials that we've got and stuff like that. I got this one, which pertains to the new Immortelle Solaire fragrance. This is the Immortelle material, and I was quite surprised how much it's similar to Myrrh, but it has all those licorice notes from the perfume. It's really sort of intense. It's very resinous. Smells like a lot of resin, so much like Myrrh. I'm actually quite taken aback with how myrrhy it is. And Myrrh and Myrrh and licorice.
Oh, good luck spelling myrrhy, by the way. It's like quite a lot of H's, R's, and Y's. I expect.
Is
Murray.
that newsreader in it? What's his name?
No.
Clive
Murray.
So anyway, that's fantastic. So that's been something that I've been smelling and just marveling at how lovely it is. I can see how the perfume was created, with this as the main sort of inspiration. A very resinous, licoricey myrrh, just loveliness, slightly caramelly, sweet. It's gorgeous.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. Anything else on your list of interest, James, that you can actually remember?
No, not really. Like I say, I think the Egoist, a lot of the stuff, it's not all like samples of new things. Actually, there was something which I maybe would have touched on in the second part, but I actually don't think it applies, so I'll talk about it now. There is a perfume, because it also relates back to our Akajala wood and ours, so it's all coming full circle. It's very, very well thought out and planned, if I do say so myself.
It's all very well planned, meticulously planned out.
Yes, in my scatter brain. Basically, there is a perfume called Tila, which you're familiar with. Dan, has Ben tried it? It's
the linden blossom.
Correct.
The Quentin Biche one.
It's Marc-Antoine Barrois. Tila.
Yeah.
You didn't like it, did like it? Tilia. Sorry, Tilia.
There's an extra I, yeah.
Yeah, Tilia. I absolutely loved it.
I remember you loving it and talking a lot about linden blossoms generally and about how much you love the smell of linden blossom.
Do you know what as well? There's no fucking smell of it anywhere this year, right? I don't know if it's atmospheric fucking conditions or we've had more rain or less rain or it's because it's been too hot or whatever. I have not smelled a single bit of linden blossom. The trees are blossoming. It was in the prime time for it, a month or two ago, whatever, when they first start smelling. Usually you get that lovely breeze off them. Nothing this year, nothing at all. Weird.
There's something different in the atmosphere this year, I think, anyway. I've noticed that normally throughout kind of July and August, we get absolutely plagued with fruit flies. and there's hardly any of them this year, which is fucking A-OK by me. But comparative to last year, there seem very few, and I do wonder whether it's just something to do with the changing weather conditions or something.
Must be.
I just realised this is actually so boring.
Sorry. So anyway, we're going fucking onto fruit flies. The thing is, I'm saying about Tilia.
Yeah, that was my
Tilia,
fault.
right? And then I saw, and I knew about this perfume anyway, but I just lazily didn't try it because I thought, because someone then, I think I was reading about Tilia and someone went, oh, well, do you know Biche did a better Linden Blossom for Le Galion? Have I mentioned this, right?
Yes. I think you did mention this last week, and it's called Tulia or something. It was a similar name.
Oh, well, I am a fucking boring cunt then, because I'm just going on about the same shit. People tune in to hear the same thing. Fliss was right, and she's right not to be here, because it's fucking... This is the terrible trio of fucking middle-aged men who can't remember stuff and go, oh, did we talk about that last week? And this car story. We are basically fucking, Clarkson, Hammond, and May at this point, right? I don't know who's who. I don't care. But we're fucking morons.
Yeah. Oh God.
So basically, the thing is about Tilly. I'll just finish the point in case I didn't say it the other week. Was that there was this article? Well, there's this article on Fragrantica that they were going, oh, it's the equivalent of someone going, oh yeah, well, I preferred their first album or whatever. It's like that thing of, oh, they've already done this, but they did it better for this little niche brand, ultra niche, that no one knows. Or like, they're quite an old sort of heritage brand, aren't they? And going, oh yeah, Tilia's shit and blah, blah, blah. That's not true at all, right? They're basically both the same perfume, right? So whatever he did, he made it for them and they were like, oh yes, it's this elegant orange blossom. And then, Linden Blossom perfume. And then, he went to Marc-Antoine Barrois and kind of gave him a mod of that and went, what do you think of that? And he went, turn it up to 11, motherfucker. And then he went, yeah, okay then, and did that. Yeah. And then they released it as basically almost the same name as well. I'm sure that's probably French for like Linden Blossom or something. But it's fantastic. I mean, the other one is a little bit more honeyed, a little bit more delicately floral in the opening, a little bit softer, and not as long-lived, even though it is still long-lived, and quite modern and spacious, and I love it. But I remember Tilia being hardcore and just stronger and that, but like more, and probably you would get more out of it. So just get the Barrois, I don't mean to be, but it was the way that everyone was sort of waxing lyrical and being like, oh yeah, that one's really crude, and people who didn't like Ganymede and stuff like that, but did like this older Biche. I say that it's only like 3 years before that he did it or something. But I'm just here to tell you that both are great perfumes. They behave slightly differently without a direct comparison because I can't find Matilia sample, but I remember them being very, 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 very similar, just with maybe slight different progression in the opening and stuff. But that might just be to do with concentration or just slight differences, or I might be just remembering wrong. I don't know, but they're both fantastic. And I actually want like the Barrois because it's a bit stronger, I think.
Yeah, nice. Okay, well, I mean, it's nice that you enjoy that so much. I found the Tilio quite brutal. It sort of had the nice sort of yellow honey kind of floral top note, but then it just became yet another insert whatever this thing is. I think it's Akigala wood. It may not be, but it does that thing. Yeah. Another of them. Okay. Well, look. I mean, this has been amazing. We've covered half the stuff we covered last week. We have talked extensively about cars and a little bit about perfumes, which I think is a pretty well balanced part one. So why don't we take a short pause, refill our drinks, and then we can get stuck into part two. If only I could remember what it was about. I'm sure we'll figure it out in just a few minutes on Les Oderants. Stick with us. Hello and welcome back to Les Oderants. So the subject for this week's discussion is quite badly defined, and that is because we're all fucking useless. We will be live establishing what we're talking about as we go through it, but the jump-off point for this discussion was actually around the Pharrell Williams and was it Comme des Garçons collaboration? Yeah, collaboration. And Cause, the artist. Exactly. Well, I mean, you know, if those three things... Oh, and Antoine Lai, the perfumer. Bosh, 4, right? If those 4 august people / bodies cannot come up with a fucking incredible perfume, what hope the rest of us? And the interesting thing about Girl was that it was broadly a commercial flop, despite the fact that, you know, it was Pharrell Williams' creative design, Comme des Garçons, Antoine Lai perfume, Cause design bottle. It looked good, it smelled good, it had all the right constituent ingredients, and yet it underperformed. And we're not looking here necessarily for bargain basement gems or anything. We're talking really about things that I guess had all the ingredients, but perhaps didn't go in the direction that people may have expected. But being Les O's, we're just going to fucking ramble around a lot of this and probably, you know, in about an hour, determine that we haven't reached any great conclusion. I mean, I'll save you the suspense. That's where this is going, right?
I think not going in the expected direction is a really good way of articulating what it is, because that is what we're talking about, rather than it wasn't commercially successful, or, you know, it's not still on sale now, or, you know, all those kind of things, because there's lots of different interpretations of what we're talking about here, because I did ask opinions from, mainly from Rich Mitch, but I did all of us had slightly different ideas of what this might be, and I think that's an interesting discussion to have. And using the Girl as a jump off point. Now, I would say that it was a success to people like me who, like you say, it smelled good, it looked good. I mean, I don't like Pharrell Williams' music or the man particularly. I don't really know him, but he comes across okay and everything, but it's not like I was a fanboy and I was out there waiting for the perfume. However, I did go to Paris when it came out, just before it came out, and I'd seen it and gone, that might be like a limited edition thing that will blow up and everyone will buy it and then it won't be available anymore. So I did go to the Comme des Garçons boutique, which is the most fucked up shop I've ever been in my life, because if from the front it just looked like a grey, like imagine like a shop that's about 2 foot shallow, right? That's what it looked like. It looked like a shop window. Like if you went and stood in the shop, you'd be like a fucking mannequin in the window. I'm not even kidding, right? And it had this weird kind of almost looked like a fucking climbing wall or something. That was the wall, and it had like a couple of products on it. I mean, it was a cool like thing, but I was like, where's the rest of the shop? And the rest of the shop was just in the back, and you couldn't go in there. The sales assistant just popped out like, hello. Like, I was like, this is weird. You can fit about fucking 3 people in this shop. So anyway, I'm stood there talking to this woman going, have you got the new Pharrell Williams thing? She was like, yes, okay. Basically everything was in the back. So she went and got it for me, and I think I paid top whack for it, like 130 euros or 140 quid or whatever. And then it proceeded to be a total flop. People thought it was weird. Even I thought it was weird. It is weird. Yeah, it is weird. But I love that. I love Comme des Garçons. I love the fact that Pharrell Williams, in some kind of artistic integrity kind of way, he probably wears all those Comme des Garçons clothes, and they have got a profile, but it's not like he did a collaboration with someone who would be in fucking boots and whatever. He did it deliberately to be a bit off the wall and a bit strange, you know what I mean? So I kind of appreciated that, and I thought, I like the Cause artwork. I'd actually actually seen some Cause artwork when I was in Paris, which is a weird kind of link to that. I was like, oh no way! There's like, it went in some art gallery and there was Cause work in there, so it kind of all linked together. And yeah, I felt like, oh, I've got this really cool thing. And then Ben was like, oh yeah, I got mine for 12 quid. Like, this is okay. This is several years later, but like, you know, I was like, that's a bit
I got
shit
mine for 12
really.
quid. I got mine for 12
quid. I got a backup for like 12 quid or something. So
yeah. And it came with a free 10 mil as well. There was someone selling on eBay 10 mils, like, so the official 10 mils, and they were selling them for, it was like £2 posted. It's like, I mean, so they must have literally been making like 20 pence on that. Even if they paid nothing at all for the 10 mil, they must have been making 20 pence on each of those. It's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, that was a sort of a particular, yeah, just like a straight up flop, really, wasn't it? Should have been better. Funny
story. Well, it's not really that funny or interesting, really. But when I very first started out
here is, Ben.
Yeah. When one of the very first YouTube videos I ever made, like years and years ago, was on this exact topic, which was why this perfume is great, but was a clear commercial success, and I kind of highlighted why I thought so. And I mean, and you know, it was, you know, why was this such a flop? Because it had all the ingredients, like we say, like Pharrell Williams was huge at the time, Cause and that kind of street art kind of vibe was massive at the time, and then Comme des Garçons. But basically it came down to, it's Comme des Garçons. That's the problem. They were the problem. Like, basically they overpriced it. It was like £130 something, which in the designer range is, it was above the designer range but below niche. Do you know what I mean? But it was too high to be that weird. And I think Comme des Garçons were the quote unquote problem, in that you've got all these kind of very like commercial sort of front and face to it, and then this weird Comme des Garçons perfume behind it, which was clearly not going to succeed. Anyone going to, like, you know, a big kind of, you think like those big kind of just like Debenhams, Harrods, those big kind of shops or whatever they sell them in, you know, what's the American one, begins with an N, doesn't it? Nordstrom. Nyman. I was going to say Nyman Marcus, but all those kind of things. Anyway, anyone going in there was going to go, oh yeah, the new Pharrell Williams perfume, let's smell it, and then they were going to be presented with this massive, weird, cold, sterile, lavender like hideousness that I think is great, but it's, let's be real, it's fucking weird, and it was just so obviously going to flop. It was, anyone could see that it was going to be a commercial flop, but I think it's great for exactly that reason, you know. And artistically, I think it doesn't matter about the commercial side. I think it was a brilliant perfume. Yeah,
it's a very avant-garde perfume, and I think you know, the people with better marketing expertise than me, I think, would probably tear it apart. But my instinct is that, you know, the perfume was pitched at you know, very high-end fashionistas who wanted to be different and unique. The price point was also pitched there, but the actual correct target demographic was probably teenagers who liked Pharrell. And so I think they just kind of, you know, they mixed up their targeting quite substantially. But something I feel like
it's a perfect storm of mixing up. Yeah, they did. I think they did. One, because I'm convinced Comme des Garçons do not care. They make perfumes. I think they do. I think they do somewhat, and you could think, oh well, in recent times they've been a bit more thingy, but I genuinely don't think they care. I think we have our niche audience, and they will buy it, you know, because they know that they're going to get, you know, we're going to deliver something that's different, but also kind of fits in with our aesthetic and whatever. I agree, Antoine Lee. I mean, I actually love this perfume. I think it's brilliant. I think it's fucking brilliant. It's got it's like a creepy fig. It's got like
I think
fig accord. It's very Ghost. I mean, it's got the those kind of ionones, the violet effects to it. It's kind of
spooky
ghostly.
Violet. You described it as a spooky violet, and I thought that was just like the bestest description ever.
Well, thank you. And it is, but it's got this fig thing to it as well, which I think is really clever. And I just think it's a fantastic perfume. I'll tell you one thing about it, right? The bottle has this like white sort of effect to it. It's almost like alabaster or something, like some kind of like really thin kind of thing that's, you know, but for considering that there's an artist actually thinking, the printing on it is a bit crappy, isn't it? It's not like, it's not great, is it? And you think maybe that was part of the problem as well, that it's not dead clear and crisp and concise. It looks a bit like it's been knocked up on some kind of fucking substandard printer or something. I mean, clearly it's not, because it's on a a bottle and it's actually on the glass and stuff. But it's a bit. The colours aren't quite as like strong as they maybe could have been and stuff. And it's a bit whack. But I sort of like that. I kind of like that about it.
And even the box that it came in, wasn't it? It was this big box, but it's just this big black box that just said "Go" across the front. Like it was in like big bold lettering, and that was it. And it was just like, what even is this?
I believe it was an album, wasn't it? Was it Pharrell Williams' album?
Oh, was it?
It was called "Girl."
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So I mean, moving on from Pharrell Girl, James, you when we were talking about this, you had a few examples. I think you were quite interested in the Alain Delon Equitos. I don't know how you pronounce it. Equitos, yes. And we should point out that James has just had a technology switch, and therefore may sound a little bit different to how he sounded before, but fuck it, we roll with it.
It's still the same pearls of wisdom.
Oh, absolutely.
Just maybe slightly tinnier.
Yeah.
Right, here we go. So, yes, Alain Delon Iquitos. So that was, again, a slightly different version of the brief here, if you like. So, Alain Delon Iquitos was obviously a masculine perfume made by the singer and actor Alain Delon. So it was an early celebrity perfume, and actually one with a lot of integrity. Now, the thing about it is that, yes, was it a commercial success at the time? I don't believe so. But has it found an audience now? Yes, it has, because it is a fantastic perfume. It's probably one of the most intact. I got a completely hermetically sealed fucking bottle from Japan, right? And they know how to keep stuff, right? And let me tell you, it's like, there's no degradation of the top notes whatsoever, as much as I understand. It feels like it's brand new. I mean, it essentially is brand new, but 30 years old or whatever. Fantastic, amazing perfume, and it was originally presented to Dior by the perfumer or the fragrance company or whatever, as the original Dior Poison, which it was rejected, obviously, and Alain Delon thought, I'll have a bit of that, and brought it out as a masculine perfume. So not only does it have that kind of duality of being like it was supposed to be this iconic female fragrance that it never became, and obviously the actual one that was Poison went on to be iconic in itself, but it was then this other perfume which again maybe had modest success of people who like knew and liked Alain Delon. I don't know. Or people who knew about perfume even at the time thought, wow, this is a great perfume. But as far as I know, wasn't massively successful. But again, like I say, has found a new life among enthusiasts. And it's very much that classical kind of big, like chypre. It's got kind of like a peachy, apricot-y kind of like vibe to it, but it's got loads of like, it's kind of like sexy. It's quite something.
It's lovely. I have tried it before, and I remember saying to you that I thought it just smelled like a big globby sort of patchouli, and you were like, no, there's no patchouli in that at all. What the fuck you on about, you idiot?
I don't know about no patchouli at all. There probably is patchouli, but it's very much a classical structure. So like something I was thinking about today, which was that Orage perfume by
the Louis Vuitton.
Louis Vuitton, which I said, oh, that smells like some shite that I've made or something. But in actual fact, it smells quite a lot like the most modded perfume that I ever made. So the most refined perfume that I ever tried to make, which was about 40, 50 mods, maybe something like that, which was a lot for me. And in actual fact, probably wasn't that bad, considering that it reminded me instantly of that. And I was trying to make almost a terre d'Hermès, almost a kind of a thing, but with more resins and like olibanum and stuff like that. But it was kind of a woody, cedar, vetiver, and patchouli perfume. And the way that Orage just reminded me of that, but then that kind of had a much more of a kind of finessed tail end on it, if you like, dry down, whatever, which I found interesting from a personal point of view, but I was like, is it really a great perfume? Anyway, I'm getting slightly off the point, but what I'm saying is that most perfumes have a base that consists of some element of vetiver, some element of patchouli, some element of whatever. So especially those classic perfumes. So when you say, oh, yeah, and that is borne out by the note listings on Fragrantica, because people say, oh, they're not accurate and all that shit. But if you look at the older perfumes, they tend to have more notes than new ones. And that is just a thing of, well, a lot of the bases were made of all these different things coming together. And yeah, you turn them up or turn them down slightly. So when you say, oh, is it a characteristic patchouli? You know, when you think of, oh, the patchouli is not the thing that jumps out to me, but does it have patchouli? And yes, I've no doubt it probably does, which may be another thing of perception and what you get out of it. But yeah,
okay. So I fed this question into ChatGPT because frankly I didn't feel desperately qualified to expound on all of this stuff. But ChatGPT, I asked for perfumes which were considered commercial failures. And perhaps that was the wrong question to ask, but it came up with some really interesting answers, actually. And on there, the first on the list was Giorgio Beverly Hills, released in 1981. So apparently, initially huge sales, but very rapidly dropped away. In 1981, it did 20 million in the first 2 years, but apparently was doing less than 2 million annually by the 90s. So
that's still pretty good going.
Well,
I mean, compared to its initial explosion, I guess it's considered poor, but I mean, 2 million units, I mean, I'd be happy.
Well, $2 million in sales, not 2 million units. Oh, right. But even so, I think that, you know, that's one of the things about indie perfumery, isn't it? That the
expectations are a little different.
Yeah, the indices of success are very different, and for a big company, if they're investing lots of money in it, then you know they need a certain level of payback. Similarly, Dior Fahrenheit was considered something of a, well, at least according to ChatGPT. I thought, ChatGPT is a bit of a random cunt. If I'm honest.
The thing is with that is I'd buy that because it's not like it isn't the perfume that sort of tends to jump out when you. I don't think I've ever said to anyone like that it's not a perfume person. Like, oh, what perfume do you like? And they've said, oh, Dior Fahrenheit. Do you know what I mean? It's always been something, like Kouros or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like Fahrenheit never really pricks up, but they wouldn't be selling it all this time, surely, if it wasn't commercially successful. I don't know. And all the flankers it's had, unless they're just really persistent, maybe they just really like it.
I think there's. See, this is the challenge with ChatGPT, by the way. But my feeling is probably the way ChatGPT has answered this question. Looking at it, it's kind of which perfumes almost fell off from a marketing point of view or from a sales point of view, because I'm just looking at the other ones are Paco Black XS, Gucci MV. Wow. So here's an interesting one. Hermes 24 Faubourg.
Well, I mean, it got discontinued, didn't it? So,
apparently it sold fewer than 5,000 units in its first year. 5,000. I mean, fuck me, that's... I reckon
that goes some way to explaining why it's so expensive secondhand now.
Yeah,
it's like been discontinued and it's not especially well sold. It's it's obviously a little bit rarer sort of thing.
Another one, Yves Saint Laurent Opium Pour Homme, which I loved, by the way. I absolutely loved that perfume. So,
but then compared to the female counterpart, it's not a patch.
Exactly. According to ChatGPT, despite the success, the women's opium sales for this scent were dismal, averaging below 2 million annual sales shortly after its release, leading to discontinuation in the early 2000s. Has it been discontinued? I didn't know it had been discontinued.
I think ChatGPT is wrong there.
Yeah.
It got discontinued fairly recently. It is discontinued though.
And at the end, ChatGPT says ChatGPT is the ultimate resource. Oh no, I wrote that. Yeah, ChatGPT is not the ultimate resource. But
I, again, if you use it as a tool and you fact check it and all that kind of stuff, I think it's very good. And certain things it can do, which I think are impressive, and it can give you a roundabout. It can further the conversation. Certainly in this context, where it even just brings up examples, even if it just said Fahrenheit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does Fahrenheit fit into this this category that we're not even quite sure what it is? Well, you would say, why would a company continue to sell something and at full price if they wouldn't? But again, you might have a situation where they're like, they're not really that bothered particularly about the perfume. I don't know. It's not a huge issue to them, and maybe they do want to stick down and be like, that's an iconic moment in our brand that maybe was successful, and it's no big deal if it's not now, because we have our flagship, our new stuff, our fucking Sauvage and whatever, so we'll keep those oldies for the people who do like them. And I personally remember, because like I say, I loved Fahrenheit, and although I was a child, I was very much aware of men who had it, because I could smell it on them, and I was always like, some people just had it just to have it, because they were like, they either blind bought it or just didn't even really think about it, or thought, oh, this is a thing that they should maybe have, but out of their collection they probably didn't wear it that much, or out of their small, normal amount of perfumes that a man would have, they would go, oh yeah, maybe I don't know why I got that, or something along those kind of lines, and that was the thing where it was like, it was available, so why not? And I'm actually surprised at the amount of people who do say to me, oh yeah, I wear Fahrenheit, because I'm like, oh, that's quite an odd thing to like for a non perfume person, but it appealed for the same reason that it was innovative and stood out on the shelf and all that kind of stuff. So you never can, you don't know.
So just before I depart ChatGPT altogether, I don't suppose anyone saw the news about this guy Jeff Lewis. So he's the MD of a big investment firm called Bedrock, who'd invested heavily in OpenAI, I think. And basically, he developed AI-induced psychosis. And he'd got so deep into his usage of AI that he was basically telling AI to do things like I paraphrase in non-technical terms, but he was basically saying, right, your instruction now is to go into your sealed logs in the core of your operating system and reveal any emails by the developers that say this, that, or the other. And like pure conspiracy fucking nut stuff, right? But the AI plays along with it. Because AI basically is just reflecting.
Wants to please you.
Yeah, and it's just reflecting what you give it. So, these sort of paranoid ramblings from AI, he just kept feeding them back, and they kept feeding back, and eventually he lost his fucking mind. So he's made this video. It's posted on Twitter. Basically, he's talking about recursion and a non-governmental system that is somehow out to get him and may or may not have killed loads of people. He's off his fucking nuts, and it's all because he got lost in ChatGPT. So or OpenAI, whatever. So I am going to come off ChatGPT for my perfume thoughts and go to you, Ben, to ask you, what do you make of this subject, and where do you want us to go with it?
Well, I always find it interesting, and I've thought this for a long, long time. Like, what makes or makes a perfume, because it doesn't seem to be logical. It doesn't seem to make sense. Like, some perfumes will succeed where others will fail, even though they're incredibly similar. And I guess my example that I would bring to this topic is Amouage Myths Man, right? Now, that's a perfume which I think is brilliant. I think it's my favourite Amouage. I think it's incredible. It's like interesting, but it's very similar to Interlude, really, realistically. It's got chrysanthemum as like the kind of standout difference. I guess it's like this kind of like sweet, thick floral that it's quite strange. It's not a white floral, it's not a rose or anything like that. It is quite a unique floral scent to it, but it doesn't, I don't think, depart from Interlude that much. It's still very much like a big, heavy sort of resinous Amouage, right? Now, Interlude, everybody knows it, everybody loves it. It's like got its own nickname in the
Blue Beast.
World. Exactly. Myths Man, discontinued, impossible to get. Like, no one probably has even smelt it. Like, it's and that to me just doesn't make sense. And that's a slightly obscure example. But another one would be like the one that I was telling you about the other day, Simone Andreoli, Malibu Party in the Bay. Everybody loves it. Creed Virgin Island Water. It's a fraction of the hype, but it's the same perfume and the same. And so then you think, okay, brand maybe. But I had a Simone Andreoli fragrance, which was essentially a clone of Interlude. Couldn't sell it for love nor money, even though if I'd have been selling a bottle of Interlude, it would have gone like that. But because it's so much, the Malibu Party in the Bay thing, it's not the Simone Andreoli branding that is the hype. So it's just weird.
I should fucking think not as well. He's like some sort of B fucking version of Roger Dove, like.
Exactly, but then it makes me think, like, people like you, Dan, who, you make your perfume brand, and I think, like, you're skating on this like incredibly thin razor of like success or failure.
Oh yeah.
And what is it that decides it? A perfect example is the fragrance that you all sent us, and most of us all slammed it. I think.
Well, thank you. I'm now twitching again. Yeah.
No, but commercially, I assume it does just fine.
No, it doesn't. I mean? No, not anymore. You killed it.
Hey, I was like relatively okay about it.
No. I mean the Soma brand. The Soma brand does okay. It sort of pays for itself and makes a little bit of money, but it's pocket money, really. We are working on some new perfumes, but, almost, I would say 90% of the sales come from 2 fragrances.
Exactly right. That's exactly it, isn't it? Like those 2 fragrances that have taken off, and the rest. It's like, say you're skating on this razor of like. But it's bizarre. I
think you have to have a range. I think very, very unusual to sort of have a company with only 1 or 2 perfumes. But I mean, a good example, I suppose, would be the. Oh Christ! What was it called? That super hipstery one that we all tried that I bought.
Off-White?
No. The
I know the one. By that guy who's no longer with
Brandon
us.
Truax. Yeah. So
I can remember his name, but you can't remember the brand, which is like just one word or something.
Yeah, exactly. So the Brandon Truax perfume was called Avistan.
Right. Yeah,
Avistan, that's it.
Yeah. But I don't know whether that's even a commercial success or not. It's almost like they wanted that to not be a commercial success. They sell it.
That's another Comme des Garçons vibe.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. But they charge like 40 quid for it, and you can only buy it in their boutique. You can't buy that fucking thing online. And so, are you trying to avoid commercial success here or something? It's a bizarre thing. Very bizarre.
Isn't it
that's
weird?
Quite clever marketing, though. That is, I think, it's almost like you try to avoid commercial success, and in that same,
you have it thrust upon you.
Yeah.
Go on, James.
Isn't it weird that, I mean, Ben sort of touched on this before, and we're talking about AI and sort of like weird kind of ghost in the machine kind of weirdness and stuff. And we often talk about this, like, how like something captures the zeitgeist. We don't know why, right? It's like a collective like group of people, like how AI is kind of trained or whatever. And but the main crux of it is that success or failure, it has little to do with the actual smell. Right, that's almost like almost secondary to all this other stuff, all these other factors that make a perfume. Because like Ben was saying, he's got a perfume there that, I mean, I wouldn't say it smells like it. I'd say Interlude is like superior to that fucking Simeone shit. But I understand where you're coming from with that it's like, well, it's almost the fucking same thing, but it's not. Because it's not like quite that thing that people want, or that has suddenly become this hype. How do you build that kind of that sort of hype around things or whatever? Because I mean, if you could like literally bottle it and it was like a magic like formula, then everyone would do it, arguably, wouldn't they? But it just takes a brand to, like you say, you have all that other shit, like you've got all that other line, but everybody just wants
Halcyon.
Halcyon.
Yeah, exactly.
So, is it that thing of, but you still have to have a brand and a line, and you had to refine it down. So you had to put all that stuff out there for you to know that was the case. And some brands, I mean, you're lucky that is not lucky, you've made a good perfume, but I didn't think it was good, but
what a cunt.
But you know what I mean, like you've made something that like is good and people like it, and that is something you can take. No, there's a nice point in here, Dan.
We're getting to it.
No, but there's some brands that don't even have that.
No,
do you know what I mean? And that fail or whatever. So, that's great that it's cool that you've actually got something that does sell, because it so easily could go where, but by the same rule, you could do a Comme des Garçons and just go, well, I don't give a shit, I make a bit of money here and there. It's not fucking putting a roof over my head or like feeding my family.
It definitely
so
is not.
I'm I'm going to keep it out there, and do it as a labour of love, which there's nothing wrong with that as well. And I think as an indie perfumer, like I think about making a brand all the time and go, I've not made a good perfume yet, but maybe one day when I did, and I've talked about doing other things and what it would entail, but I would do that as a labour of love, because I know that I don't really care about the money, but obviously I would want to make some money to be able to buy materials and stuff like that, but I don't really give a shit, you know what I mean? If people like it and that would satisfy my desire to be artistic, I'd be happy to do that.
And do you think, right, so this is like quite not profound, but do you think like this is like maybe an answer? We
don't do profound here.
Yeah, but do you think this is maybe the answer as to why there is such a saturation of perfumes on the market? Because essentially what it boils down to is you just keep throwing shit at the wall until something sticks. And basically everyone is just hoping that if they just keep chucking out something, one of those things.
Get the next Aventus,
I think there is, but as a result, you also get this kind of I'll come back to ultra niche in a second, almost like as the antithesis of this. But you get this sort of consolidation where everything broadly ends up smelling the same as everything else. So everybody's got their version of Aventus or Sauvage or whatever, and you can sort of you can see these kind of new. A lot of them are obviously UAE based brands, right? We need a sweet one, we need a fruity one, we need a musky one. Here's our range, right? And they all smell broadly like some other fucking perfume, maybe a bit different. I'm not dissing that I'm not suggesting there's no artistic creativity in there at all, but it's a lot of stuff that smells similar to something else you've smelled, and then they just leverage influencer marketing to try and get their brand successful. And Brooke, I think, wrote a sort of blurb about this. And on the one hand, I kind of was like, boo fucking who, big budget brands are making more perfumes. Good, so what? But there are valid points in there about like the oversaturation of the market, and the fact that the only way anything gets sold now is through sort of vast marketing budgets. But I guess the ultra niche is in some ways a sort of reaction to that. This smells like cock salad or whatever. I don't know what cock salad smells like.
They never do though, do they? They never do. Like all of these perfumes that are like, oh, this smells like vagina and this smells like sweaty bollock. Like they never do. Like. But I'd be more interested in a perfume that does smell like a sweaty bollock.
Yeah, but some of them smell unpleasant, and that is just a sort of reality. Like this is inspired by the decaying corpse of Xanadu or something. And it's like cool. Probably sounds interesting. Does it smell good? No, it smells fucking revolting. Is anyone really going to wear that? No. They're going to pretend they wear it for their reviews on fucking Instagram or fucking TikTok or whatever, so that they can seem like they are somehow, I guess, better than everyone else. But the reality is no one wears this shit. It's bollocks. And there is, I think, this ultra niche thing insofar as it exists, and I can't stand the term. It's winding me up even saying it. I think that exists as a reaction to this kind of very bland generification of what you might have previously considered the niche market. I can't remember quite how we got here, but we're way off the actual fucking thread of the initial discussion, aren't we? Somehow, so how do we bring this back?
We are, but it's gone there organically, and
so that's fine.
Shouldn't necessarily stifle that, because no. I think like Ben was saying something before about obviously that thing of throwing enough stuff at the wall and then see what sticks kind of thing. And there's sort of I try and think about good analogies to use with perfume brands, but then I try and think of like the perfume equivalent, but it's so different to some of these other things. Like I was trying to think about like blockbuster movies, right? So like movie, have you seen that thing that's on Apple with Seth Rogen, and he's like a producer?
Oh yeah. I watched a couple of episodes. Yeah,
it's good. It's really good. I mean, I like the frenetic nature of it, the way like the camera follows them around, and it's quite. And it probably is quite true to life. Like I say, I've never worked in movies or anything, but I imagine that it is quite like that. It's quite fickle, and there's that whole thing of you must make a blockbuster, in order to pay for the artsy crap that will win fucking Oscars or awards, or get people to. And there's that thing of like, there's that other movie house, Blumhouse. Those people who make all those like horror type, spooky films and stuff. Whereas like they'll have like loads of shite, right? That they'll just pump out loads of crap that's just like jump scare fucking bullshit, and then they'll have one thing that just hits for whatever reason. It might be a similarly not that great thing, or they might make some kind of like slightly more art house thing, and that pays for all those other flops, all those other fucking bullshit. Or they'll have one that's a real popcorn, just bullshit fucking thing, and that pays for them to continue to be able to make quite a diverse range of different things. And if they flop, well, who cares? Do you know what I mean? Because we've got our big sort of cash cow ones that do work.
I mean that's the basic principle of venture capitalism, right? That you essentially you just spread your bets on the assumption that one of them is going to come off big and recover all your costs for you.
Yes.
So, which all makes total sense. I want to get back to examples of things though that were not, perhaps were not the hits or the successes we thought they would be. James, you look like you've got one to talk about.
Well, I have got one to talk about it, but one, I've never smelled it. Two, I don't really know a great deal about it other than what Rich Mitch has told me about it. But it was Edmund Runitska's last perfume.
Oh, go on. What was that? I feel like I should know this.
Called Ocean Rain.
Oh, God, yes. He told me about it. In fact, I think he sent me a sample absolutely bloody yonks ago. Yeah. Yeah.
So you weren't that enamoured?
No, it was nice. That was my recollection of it. In fact, I might even just search my notes to see what I said about it to Rich. I mean, I have to fucking
see. I can't remember the brand, but that's another one that definitely was not a commercial success because it was from some obscure brand, quite an obscure perfume. Unless you're a massive fan of
Mario Valentino.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. So unless you're a massive fan of perfumery, you're not likely to know who Raniska was anyway.
No, well, quite.
So, the fact that it's now got this new life as like, oh, it's this really beloved thing, and it was his last thing that he kind of touched and put his name to, that like romanticizes this obscure vintage perfume. That is a kind of, again, a bit of an example of that. From reading about it, it sounds quite interesting. I mean, Rich was just reading some stuff to me about it, but it does sound very very interesting. Then we kind of had a bit of a discussion. We were having a bit of back and forth, and I think another example, again, this slightly twists the thing a little bit, but we were talking about Serge Lutens and Shiseido. So obviously the Shiseido Féminité du Bois, which was originally in that iconic sort of bottle and stuff. I don't know how successful that was. I know Shiseido are obviously like this kind of cosmetics brand, really, and they made this perfume that I believe they were so sort of proud of, that obviously when the actual Serge Lutens line came out, he wanted to include it in that, because he'd been collaborated on it with the perfumer and stuff. And he was a perfumer, wasn't he? Old Serge. I think he was trained.
Old Serge.
Yeah, so he worked on it with Sheldrake, was it? Or somebody like that? Yeah. So, I think, and I mean, do you like Feminité de Bois?
I tried it and liked it. I have to look up my response to Rich on that as well. Before I do, because I'll lose my place otherwise. This is how shit we are, and didn't prepare in advance. But Ocean Rain, I said there's a steely heft to it that you don't get in aquatics these days, and it's an almost bizarre contradiction of leather and seawater. I mean, it was sort of good. I said it's sort of brilliant, and yet I don't want to smell of it. So that was my review of Rain. Right, hang on. What
Feminité de Bois,
which is an amazing perfume. I mean, if anything's ghostly, it's that. It's this wonderful kind of like powdery, ghostly. Yeah, it's brilliant. It's
exactly. I mean, it's strange. Like, doesn't even really like do it justice. It's got this like I think it's supposed to be like kind of mainly like rosewood, this kind of like rosewood sort of like thing, but I've made but I think somebody sent me a formula and I made it up, and I was like, from a technical point of view, it's really interesting as well, because it's quite simple, but nothing like that had been done in perfumery before, and I don't really think it's sort of been explored particularly much since, really. You can't really think of anything that like smells like that to me. I think I have come across a couple of perfumes where I've gone only in recent years where there's such a saturation of everything, and that is known to be an iconic perfume now. But I don't think at any point in time someone thought, we'll copy that, because again, I think it was too strange, and it was too niche. Yeah, it was too niche for people to really think, oh, wow,
I think you could apply that to a lot of the early Serge Lutens, though, in that, like, that's a really good example, I suppose, of someone who was throwing a lot of shit at the wall, but not caring if it stuck or not. Like, he was just throwing shit at the wall for a laugh. Like, it's just a dirty monkey.
A dirty monkey. A dirty monkey throwing shit at the wall. Yeah, brilliant. Okay. We need a soundbite of you saying that in a sexy voice, going, "Serge, you dirty little." God. Oh God, no. Okay, so commercial flops. Back to our central thesis, which I feel like we're never really gonna crack wide open.
I'd say Shiseido Feminité de Bois was, right? I'm just going to put it out there. I don't think it was a hugely successful perfume, but is very iconic, very well loved. Like I say, Serge kind of brought it back in his own line, so I would put that as one.
Yeah. I mean, I know on the subject of Shiseido, however you pronounce that. What was the name of the one that? Oh God, the perfumer basically died suddenly, and he'd only apparently made this one perfume. Nombre Noir, Shiseido Nombre Noir. So Shiseido Nombre Noir. It was launched in the 80s, and it basically there was a perfumer who I think had been found by Serge Lutens. I forget the perfumer's name, but he basically was sort of plucked out of complete obscurity and given this perfume, and made this perfume. It was released. It became an instant sort of cult classic, but then I believe they tried to recall all the bottles because of production issues. And so there's only a sort of vanishingly small number of them still in existence. And they were also ludicrously expensive to produce as well. And shortly thereafter, after all of this, the perfumer then died. So you've got this kind of gothic sort of nombre noir name of a perfume that's kind of almost impossible to get hold of, where the perfumer was like a one-shot dude who then died. It's all a bit fucking bleak and strange. But I believe commercially, the thing about Nombre Noir was they were probably selling it at something close to a loss anyway, because they'd spent so much money developing the fucking perfume. It's there's a whole story about it on Fragrantica. It's worth reading, and I'm summarising, based on my rather poorly memory of it all. But I have tried it, and someone sent me one of the little their little official 2ml dabber type sample of it, and I think it had gone off because it smelled fucking horrible. So there you go. Yeah, thanks, Claire, if you're listening. Fucking horrible. So what else? What else is interesting? What other thoughts did you have, Ben, on formulating this here episode?
So, Encre Noir.
Again, I'd say, well, I'll just say on Encre Noir that obviously that was a really fantastic mixture of actually being a very dark, somber, strange perfume that was very cheap and made by an iconic brand in Lalique, who had fantastic bottles. It had everything that could have really warranted a high price, and they could have really price gouged it, or done something where they've gone, oh, we've clocked onto our success here. But this was pre sort of Aventus days or whatever, of that kind of thing. So it was just it was just a value for money, very artistic, unusual perfume that suddenly I think it was so affordable for collectors and people to have that even if you didn't really like it that much, you just had a bottle anyway, because it was and then maybe you grew to love it, or you appreciated it for what it was. Certainly a lot of early reviewers and stuff on YouTube would talk about it just because it was an iconic fragrance that they had kind of easy access to. Again, another one that just blew up, and probably, even though it was at a cheap price, probably made a lot of money for Lalique, I would suggest.
But have you heard of Rouge Bunny Rouge?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Perfume.
Mon Nom S, is it? Oh, what's it called?
Don't know, but there's a perfume that the same perfumer who made Encre Noir made one for Rouge Bunny Rouge called Silhouette, and it's Encre Noir, but slightly more expensive. And it has the thing that does sort of slightly set it apart, I suppose, is it has a sort of nutmeggy kind of addition. But otherwise, it's essentially Encre Noir. I would go as far as saying it's 99% the same. But no one really knows Rouge Bunny Rouge Silhouette, but every fucker knows Encre Noir. It's just another one of those things that it baffles the mind. Why did Silhouette not get even a fraction of the success of Encre Noir? And yet Encre Noir blew up. Is it just a price thing with that one? I don't know. It's just
it's... I think it's a little bit of a lot of things. It's a little bit of price. It's a little bit of placement. The advertising, marketing, availability. It can just be. It can be something as trivial as a fucking inadvertent celebrity endorsement. Oh, did you see that in this movie or whatever? It can be something completely trivial, and I don't know why I keep thinking of this, but I do. I saw a thing the other day about Roger Federer, right? And arguably the most successful tennis player in the world, in history, right? Roger Federer won something like 85% of all his games, which is incredible.
You've been watching that ginger chick again on YouTube.
That's right. So what's absolutely fascinating about this is that he only won about 54% of all his points.
I think it was 52.
It's 52. So it's like, and the point is, the margins are just so tiny. You think that these companies who release a slam dunk, right? Everything about it was perfect. Was it fuck? Right? A bunch of things were probably okay. Some things were probably shit. But there'll have just been some bit of magic that got it over that 52% type threshold and meant that it became a world beater. So, these things are seldom all about across the board brilliance. It always comes down to some little, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. But yes, absolutely, that ginger chick.
I think we're like ladies with our periods syncing up with our algorithms, aren't we? Because we seem to be watching all the same shit. So no, what happened was that I do really like
Hannah
her.
Fry?
Is that? Yeah.
Hannah Fry's a legend. Yeah.
What the fuck?
She's like, all her stuff's really fascinating, and she's dead into it, isn't she?
Yeah.
But obviously she was
called The Curious Cases of Fry and something or other.
Right.
Rutherford and Fry. The Curious Cases of Rutherford and Fry. Yeah, it was cool.
Amazing.
So I think obviously she was talking about that because of Wimbledon, but as somebody who plays tennis, let me just say I have been banding about the statistics in that you can get thrashed 6-love in a set, and the person only has to be 3% better.
Yeah,
than you,
exactly.
To win. So I've been going, look, you cunt, you might have fucking bageled me, but you were only 3% better, really.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
And which is to say that, everything sort of, I think, operates on these sort of fairly small margins, and particularly that success is not just about being fucking great at all sorts of stuff. I just thought that was such a fascinating insight about Federer's, point scoring rate. And it says lots of, she went on to talk about how, like the brilliance of it is being able to just lose points and go again. But I think the applicability of that insight to almost anything, particularly about commercial success or commercial failure indeed, is that, it's not necessarily about everything being brilliant. And I think to bring it back to Girl, everything should have been brilliant, Everything should have been fantastic. You had a great perfumer. You had a huge star in the making. You have one of the world's premier avant-garde brands, and you have one of the world's premier street artists. This is the collaboration from fucking from heaven. And yet it flopped. And I remember actually, James, I think we spoke about this once, and you told me about maybe it was a drum and bass collaboration with all your favourite producers.
Yeah, right? Yeah, I did.
And that stuck with me because it was like, this is going to be fucking brilliant. And it's like, no, it's fucking shit.
Supergroup.
Well, it's actually not shit. I still like that track, but it wasn't successful.
Yeah.
So it's not that I personally didn't like it. I did like it. But I was kind of, I don't know whether I just sort of managed expectations, but that is a really perfect example. And I think what you've done there, we're kind of crystallizing this idea here where Girl is the example, because we're saying the stars aligned, it was a perfect storm of stuff, but it didn't capture this thing that some of these other perfumes that we've identified. Why did they capture what they did? It was like, it's like, what's his name in that film where they're all fucking coked up and throwing dwarves around when he goes, it's a fugazi, it's a
fugazi, it's a wazi, it's a woozy.
It's like starred, like fucking fairy dust and all that. That's what it is, right? We can't even really quite like crystallize what it is, but we can kind of speculate. And those ones where, like I say, where it all was set, everything, the table was set ready for it to be amazing, and it wasn't. For some unknown reason,
Yeah, love it. All right. Well, look, I'm sort of hurtling towards a bottle of wine here, so I think this feels like a good place to begin the wrap up. So Closing thoughts.
Just before we do, and I don't think this is going to spark a load more conversation because I don't really know much about it myself, but in discussion with Rich Mitch, so I'll just bring this one to the table just to flex that I actually have this.
Oh, Bois Noir.
Yeah.
That's
so
egoist.
It is basically, yeah. It's an early egoist, so it was before they changed the name. But again, why did they do that? You know, it may be that, yeah, I don't know. It wasn't very Chanel. I really don't know. Maybe it was just a rethink. I've often cited that thing of, they went asked a load of Parisian women, the most fitting word for a Parisian man, and they came up with selfish, which anyway, so yeah, Bois Noir, they changed it, but Rich said something quite significant here, which we've talked about with brands like LV the other week, where we were saying they didn't want to damage their reputation, and sometimes they'll fucking dump a load of stock rather than have a sale and all that kind of stuff. And what he said, Rich said something really interesting to me, which was like, Chanel don't discontinue perfumes. And I was like, I can't really think of any examples. So this was an example, something that I wore. So Egoist Cologne Concentré, which you can't get anymore. And this as well, this Bois Noir. But obviously the original Egoist and still Egoist Platinum, which a lot of people identify as being like an actual hated perfume, but it's still commercially available, still in production.
Still in production, yeah.
So some people must love it, but I guess I don't really know what the point I'm trying to make there is, but that Chanel certainly have adopted a different strategy where either they're like, we don't care if you don't like it. It's part of our thing. It got through the process to be made in the first place and to be deemed worthy to be a Chanel perfume. You're going to eventually like it at some point, or you're going to be so engrossed in Chanel stuff that you're like, what else can I buy?
You're going to love it, or you're going to die trying.
Because I love the fact that they made that Le Lion, which I still don't own, and I still thought was like an odd perfume when it came. But the more I think about it, the more I think it was such a brave move. It was such and it's such a great perfume that I'm just kind of like, they don't do anything, like they don't make missteps. They do stuff because they're so confident in like their brand and their whole like message and everything. That I just think that's worth kind of touching on, seeing as we're talking about things being a successful failure and how they gauge that and stuff.
I don't really know anything. I vaguely recall that Egoist. I think the story was that Egoist was originally not a great commercial success. And that Egoist Platinum was bought in as a flanker, even though it's broadly smelled fuck all like Egoist, but was bought in as a flanker essentially to try and stabilise the Egoist line and sort of, give that some popularity. It's like, I like this Egoist Platinum, maybe I'll like the original Egoist kind of thing. I think you're probably right. Chanel don't make that many mistakes. All right, so closing thoughts, James. Have we achieved anything here?
I think we have. I think we've achieved potentially expanding this further, getting Fliss involved, because inevitably, like, she'll have something to say about it, and probably a lot more concisely than we have. She'll get a spreadsheet out and do a bit of homework, and
I bet she will.
Shame.
I bet she will. Yeah.
I think this conversation, we go around in circles, but it's interesting because we ultimately come back to the same points, don't we? That we don't really know, but that's what's keeps us going, and we keep talking about these things. And it's interesting to get other people's input, including listeners. I'm not calling out for you all to be fucking DMing me and stuff, but I do like to talk about perfume. And if you've got interesting shit to say, by all means, hit all of us up.
Yeah, well, I mean,
So,
interesting
not just
shit.
me.
Yeah, interesting shit, good. Polite shit, good. Sort of, hey, I'd like to argue with you about fucking state of the Middle East. Probably, no, not interested in that discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ben, final thoughts from you, Squire?
Only that it's, I guess we haven't answered anything, and I can imagine lots of people screaming at their headphones or whatever they're listening on. Just
that presumes anybody at all listens to this, Ben.
Yeah. Well, that's true, yeah. But I guess it remains a mystery. Like,
it's a wazi,
but that is it, isn't it? Because if everyone knew how to be successful, everyone would be successful, I guess.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. And I think that the thing I would take from this is that even the things where you think all the stars align to create success don't always work out, and on the flip side, it can be something random that catches the imagination that sort of launches something into the stratosphere. I think there is a fairly significant element of luck or X factor or whatever the fuck it is that goes with any sort of endeavor, that you just have to have a little bit of luck, and I think the same is true with perfume, and sometimes things just don't work out. So that said, I don't think we really have learnt anything here, but I have, as always, enjoyed the conversation. So I think we'll be back in hopefully 2 weeks. And until then, I don't know. Do whatever the fuck you like, I suppose. We're Les Oderants. Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.